Your dad is Sub-Zero, not the first one who turned into a shadow ninja. The cool one, literally. He can freeze people with the flick of his wrist, summon ice weapons out of thin air, and once saved the planet in a tournament for wizards and four-armed monsters. Sounds awesome, right? Now imagine you can't freeze anything. You can't summon an ice axe, you shiver when someone opens the fridge, you own 3 sweaters, and your bedroom is the only room in the house with actual heating. And to make it even worse, your creepy undead uncle Noob Saibot keeps showing up for Thanksgiving wrapped in black smoke, offering to show you the shadows. Welcome to my life. I'm the son of the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, and I'm the biggest disappointment in the history of cryomancy.
Breakfast at the Lin Kuei Grand Master's house isn't pancakes, it's humiliation. When your dad expects you to freeze your own cereal, you know you're in trouble.
Breakfast at the Lin Kuei Grand Master's house is not a normal meal. For most families, Saturday morning means pancakes. For us, it's a training session disguised as a meal. Dad doesn't sit at the table, he hovers. He's still in his blue ninja gear, mask pulled down just enough to drink his tea. The tea steams, not because it's hot, because he's cooling the air around it to show off. "So," he says, not looking at me, "have you been practicing?" I stare at my cereal. The milk is frozen solid. Again. "Dad, the milk." "The milk is fine. You're not concentrating. A true cryomancer can keep liquids at the perfect temperature without even thinking. Try again." I stare at the cereal bowl. Nothing happens. The milk stays frozen. After a minute, steam rises from my ears, out of embarrassment. Dad sighs. It's the kind of sigh you hear when you've disappointed someone who once fought a dragon sorcerer and won. "Duty calls," he mutters, rising. I have to meditate on a new ice clone technique. Try not to freeze the cat again. I didn't mean to freeze the cat. He's already gone, leaving a faint frost trail on the floor. In the background, the TV is playing another rerun of the Mortal Kombat tournament. Liu Kang is doing his trademark high-pitched battle cry. Dad recorded every single tournament. He calls it research. I call it a midlife crisis. The phone buzzes. It's my uncle, Noob Saibot. The black smoke starts leaking from the receiver before I even answer. "Hello, nephew. Your father tells me you still can't freeze water. The shadows would welcome you, you know. We have no such weakness." I hang up. Then I unplug the phone. Then I throw the phone in the freezer. For a moment, I feel a tiny, pathetic chill in my fingertips. Progress.
School is even worse. Your dad's ice portal is faster than the bus, but landing it requires a miracle and a good lawyer for the cheerleaders you crash into.
Getting to school requires a special protocol. Dad insists on teleporting me through an ice portal he carved behind the couch. It's faster than the bus, but the landing is always violent, and half the time I arrive covered in frost with my backpack frozen shut. Today I stumble out of the portal and crash into 3 cheerleaders practicing in the hallway. They shriek. One of them falls into a display case. A janitor glares at me. "Sorry," I mumble, brushing ice crystals off my jacket. The school itself is a monument to Dad's reputation. The trophy case is filled with dusty awards from the old tournaments, including a framed photo of him shaking hands with Raiden, the Thunder God. Principal Wilson, retired Special Forces, very scary, very anti-ninja, calls me to his office at least twice a week. "Your father froze the boiler room again," he says, rubbing his temples. "The pipes burst. We have to cancel classes early." He was just trying to help. Help? He turned the gymnasium into an ice rink, a real one. We're renting it out for birthday parties now. I don't have a good response. I just nod and leave. At lunch, Jessica from Advanced Physics sits beside me. She's wearing a blue hoodie. For a terrifying moment, I think she might be a Lin Kuei spy sent to test me, but then she offers me a fry. "You're Sub-Zero's kid, right?" she whispers.
No.
I freeze,
just looking
not
for
literally,
coffee.
and nod. "Cool," she says. "My mom is Kitana. She says your dad owes her a rematch." I have no idea how to respond to that. I just take the fry.
Just when you think things can't get more awkward, the daughter of a literal assassin princess asks you out. Kitana is not a fan of soft ninjas.
Jessica and I start hanging out after school. She's not a ninja, she doesn't even know martial arts, but her mom is literally a princess from another dimension who once tried to conquer Earthrealm with an army of zombie warriors. "So your dad's power is ice, right?" she asks one afternoon, poking at my frozen soda can. "Yeah, cryomancy. Snowballs, ice axes, the works. And you can't do any of that." "I can make my hands cold, sometimes, if I concentrate really hard." I show her. My palm temperature drops by about 5 degrees. Jessica stares, fascinated. "That's amazing," she breathes. "No, that's a medical condition." She laughs. Then she leans in. "My mom wants to meet you," she whispers. "Your mom? The fan-wielding assassin who once beheaded Shao Kahn's entire guard?" "The same. She says if Sub-Zero's son is going to date her daughter, she wants to make sure you're not just a disappointment." Gulp. The next day, I'm standing in Queen Kitana's living room. She doesn't sit, she paces. Her fans are strapped to her belt. "Your father is a great warrior," she says, circling me. "His ice clone technique saved my life twice during the Outworld invasion. But you're soft." "I'm trying." "Try harder." She demonstrates a basic ice block punch. A frozen statue of Liu Kang appears in the corner of the room. It's disturbingly realistic. "You're a cryomancer's son. Act like it." I leave with a frozen ego and a new sense of dread.
Your dad finally gives you the talk, not about bees and flowers, but about how he was once the second-rate cryomancer too. Turns out even legends have imposter syndrome.
That night, Dad finds me in the kitchen staring at a glass of water. "You're thinking too hard," he says, sitting beside me. "Cryomancy isn't about forcing the cold. It's about becoming one with it. Empty your mind." "Like you do before a tournament?" "Like I do before I meditate." I close my eyes. I try to feel the cold. Instead, I feel embarrassment, pressure, the weight of being the son of a legend who can't even freeze a cup of water.
Dad sighs again. Then he does something unexpected. He puts his hand on my shoulder. It's warm. I couldn't control my powers either at first. My brother Bihan was the natural. I was just the backup, the second-rate cryomancer. "He turned into a shadow demon, Dad. You turned into the Grand Master." "Only after I accepted that my path was different. You're not me. You're not Bihan. You're you." He leaves the room. The water glass on the counter cracks. Just a hairline fracture, but the crack is frozen. I did that. Maybe I'm not completely useless.
Parent-teacher night. Sub-Zero shows up in full ninja gear. The principal adds a new line to the repair budget after the vending machine incident.
Parent-teacher night arrives. Dad insists on coming. He wears his ninja gear. "My other job," Dad explains to Mrs. Patterson, my English teacher. "Assassination. Very demanding." Mrs. Patterson backs away slowly. The principal offers Dad a seat. Dad prefers to stand, back straight, arms crossed. Every other parent stares. The art teacher, Mr. Vega, steps forward. "Your son, he's struggling with creativity. He draws ice, lots of ice." The Lin Kuei value discipline, not creativity. "He drew a picture of you freezing a T-Rex with lasers." Dad looks at the drawing. A tiny smile tugs at his mask. It's anatomically inaccurate, but I'll allow it. The night ends with Dad accidentally freezing the cafeteria vending machine. The principal sighs. We'll add it to the repair bill. Later, at home, I find Dad staring at my drawing, still smiling. "Dad?" He doesn't answer. He just keeps looking. Maybe he's proud of me after all.
Grounding a cryomancer's son means no video games, no phone, and no girlfriend. But when a hamster wheel freezes on its own, you start to wonder, maybe you're not completely useless.
Dad revokes my training. Officially, I'm on probation. Unofficially, he's grounded me from all martial arts until I can freeze a moving target. "No video games," he says. "No phone. No hanging out with Jessica." "But Dad!" "Your grandfather froze an entire river to stop a Shokan battalion. You can't freeze a hamster." I stomp to my room. A few minutes later, I hear scratching at the window. It's Jessica.
Your dad is crazy, she whispers, climbing inside. But also, my mom wants to help. Help how? She says true cryomancy comes from emotion, rage, fear, even love. I think about Dad, about the pressure, about the weight. The hamster wheel in the corner starts spinning on its own. Then, it freezes solid. Whoa, Jessica whispers. For the first time, I feel hope.
Your undead uncle Noob Saibot keeps visiting at 3 a.m., offering power without limits. You throw a frozen pillow at him. Progress.
The shadows slip under my door at 3 in the morning. Uncle Noog, original Sub-Zero, murdered by Scorpion, resurrected as a shadow demon, materializes in my room. You resist your potential, he whispers. The darkness offers power without limits. No training, no discipline, just instinct. No thanks. He vanishes. A shadow demon appears on my wall. It claws at my homework. Stop it! The whole room turns dark. I focus. Remember Dad's words, empty your mind. I push the cold outward. The shadow screeches and retreats. The lights flicker back on. My bed is covered in frost. Jessica texts, your uncle just appeared in my room. Tell him to stop. I toss a frozen pillow at the wall. Uncle laughs from somewhere in the darkness. The boy has potential. Get out before I call Raiden. Silence. He's gone. But I know he'll be back.
Scorpion shows up at your door. He's not here to fight your dad, he's here to recruit you. A charred kunai on your desk says, choose your side.
Scorpion, the demonic ninja who murdered Dad's brother, shows up at the front door. Not to fight, to talk. Your son, he growls at Dad, hangs out with the daughter of the woman who beheaded my master. That's not my problem. It's a Shirai Ryu problem. I watch from the stairs. Scorpion is huge, radiating heat. Dad stands firm, radiating cold. They glare at each other. The boy has fire, Scorpion says, more than he knows. The Shirai Ryu could teach him. He's a cryomancer. He stays with me. Scorpion leaves, but he looks at me before he vanishes. His gaze lingers. Later, I find a charred kunai on my desk, a warning, an invitation. I'm a pawn in a war I never asked to be part of.
Your dad enters you into a local tournament. Your opponent is a shapeshifter who turned into Justin Bieber. You freeze his hair gel. It's the greatest victory of your life.
Dad enters me in a small local tournament, just for practice, he says. My opponent, a Shang Tsung tribute artist, he can shapeshift poorly into celebrity impersonators. Round 1, he turns into a wobbly Elvis impersonator. I freeze his microphone. My hips are stuck, he wails. I win by technicality. Round 2, he becomes a Justin Bieber impersonator. I stare, horrified. Focus, Dad shouts. I launch an ice blast, weak but enough to freeze his hair gel. He slips and falls. I win again. Final round, he transforms into a giant, angry version of my dad. It's terrifying. It's wrong. I run. I hide behind a plush stand. The crowd boos. Dad facepalms. I lose. But when I get home, there's a medal on my desk. Participation, the ribbon reads. I'll take it.
16 years old, you can freeze a soda can, summon a tiny ice dagger, and keep the cat's water bowl solid. Your dad's eyes crinkle behind the mask. That's his smile, and for the first time, it's enough.
I'm 16 now. I can freeze a soda can. I can summon a tiny ice dagger. I can't start a car in winter without help, but I'm trying. Dad stopped comparing me to Bihan. He stopped comparing me to himself. He just watches. Sometimes he nods. Jessica is still around. Kitana still scares me. Raiden called once to ask how I was doing. I said, okay. He said, good, and hung up. Uncle Noob still visits, but I chase him away with a freezer fan. Progress. Last week, I froze the cat's water bowl on purpose. Dad saw. He didn't say anything, but his eyes crinkled, the closest he ever gets to a smile. So, you think your fire's hot enough now? Jessica asks, poking my still cold hand. I don't have fire. I'm a cryomancer. You've got something burning inside. I can feel it. She's right. For the first time, I feel warm, not from embarrassment, from pride. I'm not the Grand Master's perfect son. I'm not Bihan's shadow. I'm not Scorpion's pawn. I'm just the kid who's learning to freeze, one failed attempt at a time. And honestly, that's enough.
So would you embrace the cold, or would your dad's shadow freeze you before you even tried? Drop a comment and subscribe. Next time, we find out what happens when Sub-Zero brings home a pet dragon.
Final question. If you were Sub-Zero's son, would you embrace the cold, or would your dad's shadow freeze you before you even tried? Drop a comment below and subscribe if you want to see what happens when my dad brings home a pet dragon.